So if you guys could start sharing what district you are from and what grade you teach, go ahead and put that in the chat. Hey guys, I know, Jeanette, I know you have your hand raised. If you guys could go ahead and just put your question in the chat. Um, it just shows me that your hand is raised, which isn't that helpful. You guys could go ahead and let me go ahead and open up the chat. Answer any questions. Awesome. I see lots of different. Oh, I see somebody from Palm Beach County. That's where I grew up. Palm Beach County, Florida. Now, guys, this is mainly a K-5, but I'm going to be doing stuff that is not just for K-5. It can be used for all grades, truthfully. Okay. Ooh, Winter Haven. I'm in Florida. Welcome, everybody. We got a wide variety. I love it. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. And thank everybody for coming today to our virtual summit. It's always so much fun to get lots of different ideas and see people from all over the United States. So keep putting in there where you're from, what grade you teach. Well, welcome, Sally, with your one grade of social studies. That one period of social studies. Awesome, awesome. And man, what a difference between math and social studies. Ay, ay, ay. Well, not really. Guess you're using lots of different types of things on there. Okay, guys, we're going to get started in about a minute. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It is not. Thank you, Lorna, for asking that question. I am just going into primary sources. So this session will not be the same. I will be talking about primary sources and how to use them in your classroom. I'm mainly going to go through my slides. All of this information, though, you're going to be able to find in your program. I'm just not going to be going over a lesson from your program. Ooh, I hope that made sense. Okay, guys, my time in good old Eastern Standard Time says 2:10. It might be 1:10, 12:10, or 11:10, wherever you might be. So my name is Kathleen Garrity. I am a district resource teacher for K-5 Social Studies in Tampa, Florida. I'm very, very glad to be here with you guys today. This is year 34 for me. The last 2 years, I have been doing this district resource position. Love it. Having a great time going and helping teachers use the materials that they have in their classroom. I am joined by two other people, Sam and Hannah. And if you guys, Sam and Hannah, if you guys could come off real quick and just introduce yourself, they're going to be helping me today, helping me with answering questions. So please, guys, if you could put any
Sure.
questions you have in the chat, and they're going to go off mute and ask those questions and then go back because I cannot, just to kind of keep with the flow so I don't have to keep on going back and forth to the chat. I'm sorry, I sort of said you guys introduce yourselves and then I kept talking. So Sam and Hannah, if you guys could go.
Absolutely. My name is Sam, and I've been a 10-year teacher. I've taught eighth grade social studies and sixth grade social studies. And Hannah just had to step out. Her fire alarm is going off, so she will not be introducing herself. So she'll be popping back on in a minute, but I'll be handling questions as they come up in the Q&A.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope everything turns out okay, Hannah. That's great. Sometimes it's, nothing. So, okay, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for putting your information in the chat. So, if you could please use the chat and not the Q&A button, and also don't raise your hand. We're not going to be able to call on you. And if you need closed caption, please go ahead and do that. But once again, if you could please put any of your questions in the chat. So Sam and hopefully Hannah will be back. Hopefully it's nothing. We'll be helping with those questions. So please go ahead, ask away. So my first question is going to be, how do you use primary sources in your classroom? So I have some examples up here, but I want you to think about it for a moment and go ahead and put your answers in the chat. How do you use them in your classroom? And if you don't, just say, I don't. I don't know how to use them. Totally okay. Oh, I love it. Inquiry projects, inquiry starter. Okay. Gallery walk, notice wonder. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Hmm. Bell ringers, evidence, yes, 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 yes. Class discussion, these are all great. So hopefully we will be adding to your repertoire of different ideas to use in your classroom. And if you were not in here yet, when we first started, if you would like to get like a pen or pencil or something next to you, because as I said, we're going to be going over a lot of stuff today. Oh, document-based questions. I love it. Document-based questions. And so if you want to write just so you don't forget anything, just strongly suggest that you have something next to you so you can, because I know I'm famous for, I go and I do a PD, professional development. I get home and I'm like, oh my God, those are great ideas. We did this and this and this. I went to one last year, went with my boss, come back, and I completely didn't I remembered like for like a month and then I needed to use it and I completely forgot everything. So that might be so helpful if you guys just keep something next to you. Perfect. I love everybody. I hope everybody got a chance to look in the chat with some different things on there. So let's go ahead and go over what we're going to be doing today. So we're first going to go over what's a primary source. Okay. And okay, that's great that that's a primary source, but how do I use it in my K-5 classroom or if you're middle school, how do we use it in my middle school classroom or in my classroom in general? And we are also going to go over where are you going to find these resources if you have the TCI program, where are you going to find any of these in here? Because minus a very few of them, I got them all out of my TCI program. Minus, I think, one quote that I think I'm lying. I think there's two quotes that I did not, and I will tell you where I got them from. But you're going to be able, all the things that we're going over today with primary sources, you're going to be able to find all of those resources in your TCI program. So I'm not giving you more work to do. I'm just helping you use what you already have a little bit more effectively. Okay. Yeah. The last thing you want is to have a PD where they're like, oh my God, now they just added 3 hours to my planning time. Nobody wants that. Okay, so first off, this is a textbook definition of a primary source. Okay, it is an original first-hand record or piece of evidence created by a person who had direct experience, witnessed, or participated in an event, time period, or topic being studied. Primary sources provide direct insight into the past without interpretation by others. Now, there are so many things that are primary sources. And I know used to be a standard for many people. What is the difference in a primary and a secondary source? And there are many discussions about that. Here's the deal. If you accidentally use a secondary source to introduce something, the world will not end. And there's not primary source police, hopefully not, running around going, that's not a primary source. It's okay. But it's just the whole thing with primary sources and why we use them is just to look at what happened and to see the actual live thing. And we just need to make sure that we're not getting all bogged down by that. But if we see an awesome painting and it's of the Declaration of Independence, we're like, oh my God, that must be of the Declaration of Independence. And we find out it was painted in 1936. It's not a primary source. And we don't want to pass that on to kids as the primary source. But we want to say to them, hey, this is a great visual of what somebody thinks it might have looked like back then. Let's interpret that. Okay, so just a kind of a couple of things about, with the primary source on there. So here are some possibles, okay, and why we teach with them. It's a great introduction to a picture book or historical person, okay? We can use famous quotes to teach history. And we can also build excitement with different types of visuals. We don't only have to use photos. Holy cow, not every single primary source is a photo or the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. There's lots of different other things that we have out there, okay, that are considered primary sources. Now, as an introduction to an historical figure, here we go. So this is a visual of Susan B. Anthony. And if you're like, I'm not sure who that is, look down at the bottom. I do have the reference on there. That is in our biography section of your TCI program. We have biographies, and one of them um, is of Susan B. Anthony. Okay. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is a great way. Now, here's the thing too. I forgot to mention this beginning, but let me go ahead and say it now. These questions could be asked to primary as well as intermediate. So we could say to a kindergartner, what do you see? I see a lady. She's got a book. She looks old. She's got an interesting dress. Look at her dress. So we could be asking that question. So how we introduce this historical figure, very simple. We could just ask these simple questions. What does the visual tell you about the woman? Why do we study her? With Kinder and One, we could also say, what do we wonder? What do we wonder about her? What is she reading? That could be one of their wonders. So we are just she looks older. She looks like an old lady. So this is a great way if we're talking, especially during Women's History Month. Let's go ahead and talk about this visual and just ask some very simple questions. And then we can maybe watch a video about her, or we could read a picture book about Susan B. Anthony. So one way to do that is just by asking simple questions with a visual. Now, here's another way. This might be more for intermediate. So I'm going to go ahead and show the students this visual. Don't forget about the quote for a moment. Forget about the quote. This visual. I'm going to say, okay, guys, tell me some things about this lady. Okay. Then on a totally different slide, I could show them this quote. And it says, fellow friends and fellow citizens, if you want, go ahead and, read it. I stand before you tonight under indictment of an alleged crime of having voted at the last presidential election. Okay. So then I could go and say, hey guys, these two go together. This is the same person. So the same person that said this is the same person that you see over here. What can you tell me now about this lady? About this lady? Maybe, and it might not, you might not even, they might not even know Susan B. Anthony. Oh, did she try to, were women not allowed to vote then? Oh, she looks older. They arrested her. So you're going to kind of build excitement about Susan B. Anthony because they're like, okay, here's this lady, and oh wow, let's looks like she did something that she's not supposed to do. But you know what? She's coming out and talking kind of sternly too about what had happened to her. Okay, so there's another way to also do this too, is you could give half the class a picture of this of Susan B. Anthony and the other half of the class the quote, and then they could kind of talk about what they see on there, and then we could kind of put it together. Okay, oh, you guys know you're talking about the exact same person. Oh, well, what did you guys learn about her? Well, she's older, she's dressed very nice, she's got a kind of funny hat on. So it's just that way of introducing this historical person, both by a quote that she said, which is a primary source, and also from a picture of her. And these are possible questions too, if you do put them together. What do you see? What does visual and quote tell you about this woman? And then why do we study her? Okay, so these are possible questions if they are together like that. Okay, so with this introducing to primary sources, how does this build excitement about the person they are learning about? Okay. So I'm going to kind of answer that one and I'm going to have you guys put the next two in the chat. How does this build excitement is students are like, oh my God, this lady, she's older and she got arrested. What could she possibly have done? Oh, she voted. Why? Why were they getting arrested for that? I do have, now I want you guys to think for a second and then go ahead and put in chat. How does this strategy help with literacy? So let's just answer that one. We might forget about that second one on there. But how does this strategy help with literacy? Yes, background knowledge, yes. Inferencing, I love it. I love it. Little purpose for that, yes. Yes, pictures are definitely helpful. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And what is they will find interesting is they're like, oh my gosh, you have somebody that's a little bit older that's still going out there. And, then you go into what Susan B. Anthony did, how she got arrested. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Yes, yes, build and practice vocabulary. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you, vocabulary is so, so, so important. So much social studies vocabulary is in literacy. Yes, leads to better writing. Oh my God, that helps so much with literacy too. So much, so much. Now, how much time does this take? That depends on you. So if you put them both up there and then have some discussion questions, that's not going to take hardly any time at all. If you divide them out and say, you guys get this picture, you guys get this quote, give us some words out of there that are some descriptive words, that's going to take a little bit more time. But if you just do this whole thing together, it's probably going to take 5 or 10 minutes, which is not a whole bunch of time. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you guys, you're going to do a you do. Okay. So here are two primary sources, a little bit different primary sources. And I want you to pick one of them and then hold on for a second. I'm going to go to the next slide and I'm going to you're going to have an assignment that you're going to put in the chat that we're going to be able to share with everybody. And then I'm going to come back to the picture so that you have that reference point. Okay. Okay. So you're going to pick one of the visuals. How would you use this primary source? And then I want you to think of some possible questions. And I don't want them to be, what do you see? You cannot use that one. That's an easy one. Possible questions that are going to lead to what, like, what do you want them to get out of it? That's the biggest thing. So looking at the picture, what do you want them to get out of it? Why would you pick this primary source? So let's go back on there. So once again, you're going to pick one, and then how would you use it? And then I want you to come up with a question that you would ask or two. And then please go ahead and put that in the chat. So let me go back. There we go. And we can, please guys be reading the chat. And because I love stealing answers from people, I'll be honest. Symbols, yes. Who built this building? God, these are great questions, guys. Who do you think works there? Oh my gosh, awesome. What is a grip? Yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, great question. Why do you think this building is white? Oh, wow. Great question. Great question. You guys are doing awesome, awesome, awesome. So the biggest thing, whoops, let me go back. The biggest thing too with primary sources is there's so many out there, but what are you going to use it for? So this might be a great way with the capital is asking like, who do you think works there? Those are great questions that are going to really, really, really blend into them figuring out things on their own, which is what we want, and to build that excitement so that they want to know why. And I will tell you, every year I used to read about all of the symbols on the Great Seal. And there are so many there, and it just leads to so much inquiry from students and discussion. Well, why do you think that they're holding this many talons? And why do you think that they have arrows, but in the other one, they have the olive branch, which is supposed to mean peace. Why do they have those things? So great ones, different kind of primary sources, not a photograph, not a quote, different kind of primary sources that are out there and they're all over the place. Got some other ones on here. Yes, guys, if you oh, I love it. Well, first one, like Tanya, the first one, why do you think an eagle was chosen? Oh my God, great choice. Great choice, guys. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So we looked at pictures, we looked at doing visuals and quotes together of the same person. Then we looked at some different kind of symbols that are just that was a photo that I could have taken yesterday. I didn't. Uh, but it's still what the building is. So it's still a primary source. Now let's take a look at this. So I want you guys to take a look at these quotes. Take a look at reading them. And then we're going to discuss some other ways to use primary sources. So read them, read them. Now, I'm going to say this would not, I wouldn't use these next couple ones for a Kinder 1-2 lesson. I wouldn't do that. I don't think I would use it for 3. So this might be more geared towards 4th and 5th. Okay, now I'm going to ask a hard question. Those are both from 2 separate documents, but are very similar in what they're doing. So, what the point is, anybody want to take a guess where these 2 documents are from? You guys can put it in the chat and see if somebody gets it. Okay, I think we got the bottom one. Now I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think the top one's from? Ooh, Magna Carta is a excellent guess. Excellent, excellent guess. Okay, so how I would use this is these are two separate documents written very close together with the same intent. Okay. Two separate writers, two very separate writers, same intent. So the top one is from Common Sense, written by Thomas Paine, and then the bottom one is from the Declaration of Independence. So what you could do with this is what are the similarities and what are the differences? They both had the same intent of getting independence from Great Britain, but two different writers, very similar time period though. Um, this one is a stretch. They're going to be looking for similar language and similar intent. So passing them out, both of them, you pass them out to students. They get both of them. What are some things that are similar and what are some things that are different to introduce um, about the Declaration of Independence? Correct, correct. Next, here's another one. What did these quotes also? Oh, this is the same one. Sorry, go to the next one. Now take a look at these two separate documents. I'll let you give you guys a moment. Now, here is a great way to introduce for my people that are also studying their state history, and that could be any grade that studies state history. The bottom is from our Constitution, it's from our Bill of Rights. The top is from a state constitution. And I got it from Florida because I live in Florida. But you can see on here what's the difference and what's similar. So it's going to be that same idea, looking for that common language on there, but we are taking like they could, and for students that might need an additional help, let's go through, let's underline some things on here that are similar. And you might, want to tell them, maybe, want to say, oh, these are but what can you tell me about them? Don't give them any background information. Um, and kind of go from there on there. But this is, as I said, a great way to also look at the laws in states and how they have the national government, that supremacy clause. No state can go above it on here. So this is a great way to introduce that on here. And I did this also with my students. Okay. And as you can tell, I keep on forgetting to go to the next one with that on there. Perfect, perfect. Okay, guys, so just take it on there. And they're going to notice the typing might be a little bit different, and that's okay. Okay. And I did get this out of TCI because we do have a Florida TCI book, but you can get any, you can the copy of your state's constitution that talks about religion there's with World Wide Web anymore, we can get pretty much it's pretty, and that's all things that are they're not copyright protected. So you can go ahead and use them. Okay. So here is another one. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys read these quotes. Go ahead, read these quotes. Now, that's all I'm going to do is have you guys read these quotes. Now, what I want you to put in the chat, what do you give me some inferences about who this person is? I mean, they can be simple things. So read the quotes. Tell me what do you tell me what you know about this person just by reading the quotes. You guys are doing awesome. Excellent, excellent. I see female, 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 female. Then I see astronaut, astronaut, astronaut. Now, what you can do is just kind of like what I talked about with Susan B. Anthony is pass them out and have students then kind of get up and walk around or have them around the room, have them get up, look at these quotes and go, okay, guys, tell me something about this person. Oh, I think that weightlessness, oh, might be an astronaut in there. Definitely talk, it's got, keep on making references to girls on here and science and engineer, but what usually gave away that the astronaut one is definitely the weightlessness one. Okay, now, does anybody want to take a stab at who this might be? I like that you put NASA on there. And you are correct, by the way. Anybody would take a stab of who this person might be? Oh, you guys are doing awesome. Awesome, awesome. Now, I'm not giving you a whole bunch of more information on here, so this might be hard. That's why I'm okay, whatever answer you put on here. But this is Sally Ride. So these are quote. This is the place where I did go out and find some other quotes under the National Archives, to that are Sally Ride quotes, and she had some amazing ones. But I didn't want to take too much that would totally give away every single part about her on here. So just kind of like once again sort of with that same idea with the Susan B. Anthony, have the quotes around. What are the students able to tell you by looking at those quotes? And then this might also be around somewhere. Oh yeah, it is an astronaut, and she did go on to do somewhat amazing things. Had a great career also as a speech, as she also gave a lot of great speeches too. So just another way also um to do this with just not just, having just pictures. Okay. Now, so I gave you guys a couple of ideas on there that you could use it. And I'm going to give you about 30 seconds because if you don't have any other ideas, totally fine. But if you have any other ways that you could use the strategy with the quotes and the pictures that you could use that in your classroom, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time. Oh, I love the hook. I love the hook before you start a lesson. And that's exactly how we use it. Oh, I love it with the Loyalists and the Patriots. Yes. Yes, yes. And someone did I have to say there's something else with the Loyalists and the Patriots. So I found this I found a quote for the Stamp Act and one against the Stamp Act. And it was they had to kind of argue about it and talk about it and all of that. And finding all of that, it's just anything to build that discussion on there. Now, I also want to say, too, the visuals itself could be a K1. Okay. And you might be able to help a little bit with two, or you could be able to do two. Definitely three, four, and five. But the visuals itself, as I said, could be a K1. You could just use those as a K1. You could also read it to the students for K1. But with the reading itself, definitely you want to have that a little bit higher in the intermediate or in second. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So this is I put this on here just so if you do find some visuals, go ahead and put it on there to be able to find it pretty quickly. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and talk about a few other primary sources that you can use. And I saw somebody in the chat in the beginning that talked about maps. Holy moly, maps are one of the most forgotten primary sources. I love me some old maps. So, this right here, I got this from TCI. And I believe it is in the fifth grade program, but it's probably a common, like you can maybe find, I'm not going to say it, but some um, websites that are a little bit more open domain. Cannot tell you any of them, but I know I did get this out of fifth grade. And I think actually I found it in third grade too, because it's geography. It's in the geography part. So having this up and saying to students, what do you think this is? K-5 can answer that question. Oh my God. And I don't know if I would do it do K in the beginning of the year because then they might think maps look like this and you don't want to confuse them or anything. But definitely, and then you talk about, oh, look at this. Oh, look at the world. It's shaped so crazy. Why do you think it's shaped like this? Why do you think we have it like this? So it's going to lead to some great discussion on there. Okay. Oh, I thought so. Yes. Oh my God. Pull down maps. You people, I love them. I love pull down maps. And you know how excited we all got when we could, find maps very quickly by going on and put it on our big screen and projecting it and all that. And I know maps change like this, but there's something to be said about the touching of a map. You are absolutely correct. Okay, so some other ones too. Here's another map that is a primary source. Oh my word. Great one on here. And a great question to ask, especially if I know in Florida we spend third grade is definitely our geography year. So I would say to students, where do you think this is in the world? They're like, oh, look how big these places are. Why do you think they're like that? Why do you think that they're not when you look at a globe, they don't look the same. Why do they seem so disproportionate? Don't use that word though. Why do some places look bigger and some places are smaller, and why is that? So this is going to definitely lead to some great discussion on there. And here we are. Here we are with what it looks like on a map now. So we've come a long way, baby, on what they actually look like. So this would be a great way to start with that first one, second one, and then leading into that third one. Perfect, perfect. Okay, maps can be used to introduce geography, teach history, and look at different perspectives. How else can they be used? So if you guys want to go ahead right now, if you want to put those in the chat, I love this chat discussion because we're getting great ideas from each other. So if you want to go ahead and put that in the chat, how else you use maps, but they are definitely showing how we used to see things and how they actually are on here. Okay. Another thing too, another primary source is photographs. And here's one on this is on transportation. So this is a lesson, I believe I got this out of 1-2, a lesson on transportation. How much has transportation changed? This is how we used to travel. How do we travel now? So these are photos. Okay, also using photos on there. Other different types. Now, this one is about school. So, and I believe this is first grade. How Let's talk about what they used to. What do you guys see in here? What are your wonderings? What do you think that they use this for? How is this different from now? So making that connection on there. And truthfully, you could do this all the way through to fifth grade on here too. Because, oh my, look at those desks and how many students are in there, even though that might be how big your class is now. Look at what the teacher used to write on. They had a stove in there. Do you guys, that stove, they had, well, it is. It's like a furnace in there. Down in Florida, we don't have anything remotely close to that in there. But, and it's just a lot of different things that you could go ahead and talk about in there. Oops, I got ahead of myself there. Okay, so historical photos can be used to compare past and present and encourage excitement about topic. How else can they be used in your classroom? So I want you to kind of think. You don't have to put it in the chat, but how else could you use some of these photos in there? Definitely talking about what we see now in classrooms and what did we see in the past. Another one, and this one is, it's used less than maps, is songs. So I'm going to play for you guys. Let me make sure my sound works. That's always helpful. And this is a primary source. Okay, so this is a primary source. So this is Washington's inauguration song.
Hail Columbia, happy land. Hail ye heroes, heaven-born band. who fought and bled in freedom's cause, who fought.
So you guys got the idea on there. It's definitely different from what they're used to. And you can make the comparison between another person that was elected, six people different. And this is his inauguration song.
Hail, gentlemen and ladies fair that grace this famous city. Come listen if you
Can't help but dance. Sorry about that. But it's just something different than what we normally have. And definitely something to think about. You know, can we add in some old songs in here too? Even songs that are not that old. So I did something about women's rights and I played Gloria Gaynor's song, I Will Survive. I think that's what it's called. Yes. And that's a primary source. So songs from the past, bringing them to now. What's the difference? What are they trying to say in that song? We forget about that. We forget that there's songs out there that can also be used as primary sources. Okay. Okay. Perfect, guys. So now, I mean, we've got about a couple minutes left. I just want to make sure we have time for you guys to do your exit stuff and all of that. So, are there any other primary sources that we have not discussed that you use? Like, well, I'm not going to say songs because I've already talked about that. But is there anything out there? And I do have some other ones if nobody mentions them too. Please go ahead and put them in there. Artifacts. Oh, political cartoons. Political cartoons, some kind of sometimes that's art. Yes. Discovery Box. Oh, I love it. The newspaper. Yes. Whoops. Thing went. Schoolhouse Rock. Okay. Definitely artifacts, letters. Yes. And that the Susan B. Anthony one was that was a speech. That wasn't a letter. I take that back. Old magazines, yes. All of these are perfect for that. Definitely with the primary sources on there. Um, there are with videos, if you want to show old time, if you're doing anything with elections, there's a great website called livingroomcandidate.org that does propaganda that shows all of the old presidential election videos. They're great. Apparel, yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome. And just like with some of the stuff that we talked about in here, it's how you word those questions. What do you want? The biggest thing with primary sources is don't just show them and go, okay, that was fun. What do I want my students to get out of it? So it's asking those carefully sequenced questions that lead to what you want them to be able to do. Oh my God, that's the one on there. Yes. Oral history. Yes. Actually having people that live through that, they are primary sources. Awesome. 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 I love it. Great job, guys. Great job. Okay. Now, here comes the hardest question of our day. So, how can I use primary sources in my limited amount of social studies time? And I think we have talked quite a bit about it. So, gallery walks, intros, I heard bell ringers. It is asking those carefully sequenced questions and sticking to them. Now, you might have a student that says something that you didn't even think, and you get all excited about it, and you kind of go, so it's just making sure that you know exactly what you are doing and you use that time really, really, really intentionally with making sure what you know, what you want them to get out of the primary source that you are showing them. That's the most important time on there, important thing on there. And these can also too, if you are reading something in literacy, that is about maps. Bringing in old maps is a great way to also get that heightened interest in there. So having anything that's in your literacy block that has something to do with social studies and bringing in those primary sources, just to kind of build that excitement and also sneak some social studies time in there. So is there any other other suggestions that anybody has on how to use primary sources in your limited amount of time in social studies? Um, I don't think any of them, most of everything I got from here was in TCI, except for those two quotes from Solly Ride. Everything else I got from TCI. So they haven't been purged from National Archives. No. Students' families, yes, 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 yes. Post on your bulletin board, yes. We do something in my district called History in the Hallways, where we put up primary source visuals and we tell stories with it just to kind of get the kids excited about what they're going to be doing. And that could be when you're moving from your classroom and bringing your students to specials or to PE or to recess. Okay, guys, let's go and take a look at this picture. Let's talk about what's happening here. So that's great, though. I love it. I love history in the hallways too. Yes, I can go ahead and show you. I found them in various places, but I will definitely show you where to find most of them. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I don't. Okay, so just one more thing before I show you how else to use them. You can use them in timelines, word walls, quick introduction. Word walls is a big one too. Okay, if you got a visual up there along with a vocabulary word, a great way to show it on there. Okay, so last minute questions. I did have a last minute question. So even though I'm just going to tell you right now, this is actually eighth grade, but that's okay. Where you're going to be able to find it, and I put it here under fifth, is I found a lot of visuals in here under biographies. That is a great place to start for looking for visuals and quotes because we have text in there and I've watched the videos and like stopped it and then screenshotted and then pulled them in. I've done that quite a bit. And there's also a primary source library too. And the maps, lots and lots and lots of maps. Oh, Joe, that is a great question. Sam and Hannah, I don't even know if they can answer that question. I don't know. Sam, do you guys know the question in the chat was, I love all the ideas in the chat. Will they be included in the replay?
I don't think the chat will show up on screen in the recording. So I think only things that we mentioned
I
that
think,
came up in the
yeah.
dialogue, but I don't think it's gonna, when I watched last year's, the chat block didn't come up.
Okay, okay. So a good, and this is going to sound horrible, but if remember that pen and pencil if you have it. If you want to go ahead and scroll through the chat, we're going to be in here for another 5 minutes. So please, please, please go ahead and the chat's not going anywhere. And I hate to tell you that, but okay, with the songs, I did take that out of the middle school program. But those songs are something that I believe is public domain. So if you Google songs, you're gonna like historical songs or those are all things that I believe were historical domain. Like they're public domain, not historical domain. I'm sorry. Public domain. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me go. So let me stop sharing. Let me go back to this because I believe I have some last minute things on here. Okay. So, Sam or Hannah, do you guys know, do they have to go back into the main lobby to get to do their, the feedback for for our virtual summit or,
We're gonna drop the link in the chat,
okay,
so that way they can just click on that, and then they'll. Oh, Hannah's already did it. So this summit
perfect,
feedback, if
thank
you just
you.
click on that, you'll be able to just enter your feedback to be entered to win one of those gift cards.
Yes, please do that so we make sure you guys get entered in. Because I was like, wait a minute, I know that it's not on here. So, because I went through all of them and I couldn't find it. And yeah, we don't have a next session. This was the last session.
Yeah, so they won't have to go back to the lobby again.
No, yeah.
So once they leave, they are done.
Yes, so please, please, please do that reflection. We want to make sure everybody gets their points if your district gives them to you and you are eligible for the gift card. And I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you guys so much.